Hi, Jared the Elder here with another short story. Uh, it's cloudy outside and only 57 degrees, but it's still warmer than up north. Anyway, uh, if you enjoy this one, I hope you pass it on. If you don't enjoy it, let's keep it between ourselves, okay? Uh, Stories about a horse buyer. And Phil is a very successful, basically a young man, has a 5-year-old son, Jack. And one of the desires that he's had for a long time, and he wants to fulfill it at this time, is he wants to buy a horse for himself. And he tells his son Jack, he said, Jack, he said, I'm going to take you on a little trip today, and it's going to be a surprise for you when you get there. So Jack's all excited, and they get in the car and they take off, and they're driving through the countryside there, and Jack is viewing and absorbing everything he's looking at. And after a while, they approach the horse farm, and like most horse farms, there's a long drive, and he sees all these horses out there. He says, Daddy, he said, look at all the horses out there. He says, my goodness, all those horses. And Phil says, yes. He says, that's right, Jack. He says, we're going to get a lot closer to them. We're going to get a lot closer to those horses. So he parks the car, and he takes Jack by the hand, and they go by the fences, and then he says, come on, we're going to go into the stables now. So little Jack says, well, what are stables, Dad? He says, well, they're a house for horses, just like we have a house. The horses need a house. So they go inside, and little Jack's looking, doesn't know where to look at first. And he passes a black horse, and he says, Daddy, what's that black horse? And Phil says, well, he said, that's called a stallion. That's a black stallion. And he said, well, what's a stallion? He said, well, a stallion is a male horse. That's a man horse. He said, oh. They go a little further, and Jack says, that horse there, what kind of horse is that? A beautiful golden brown horse, mane beautiful. And he said, well, that's a mare. He said, well, what's a mare? He said, well, a mare is the lady horse. Oh, okay. And they walk a little further, and Phil stops at the one stall, and he looks inside, and then he sees an attendant over. He says, come on over. He says, I want to look at my horse again, if you will, please. He says, no problem, Phil. And he opens up the door and brings the horse out, and Jack's got a weird look on his face. He says, what color is that? He says, well, that's called dapple. You know, just like apple, but dapple. And it's a gray horse, and it has black rings around certain parts of its body. As it gets older, there's more black rings. He said, and I really like this horse, a nice, gentle, good horse. He says, oh, goodness. And then Phil takes his hands, and he caresses the mane and the neck and the head, and gets down to the facial portion, and gentle, real gentle with the horse, and pushes back the lips to look at the teeth, and then he strokes the chest, and then he takes his hands and he strokes the back and gets down to the flank, and the thighs, legs, and little Jack said, what are you doing, Daddy? He says, well, he said, Jack, when you want to buy something, you like this, you have to feel it all over. Make sure that it's what you want when you touch it, you know? And all of a sudden, Jack's eyes open up, and he says, you know what, Daddy? He says, what, Jack? He says, I think the UPS driver wants to buy mother. It's a cutie pie. I like it. I hope you do too. And again, you want to pass it on, please do.